Hello everyone, welcome back to all of you in the Smelly Army. So today it's one of my quickie unedited videos, just going to be having a look at 3 new ones from the house of Parfums Vintage. Great ones for summer here, I think. These were sent to me free for review, I should mention. And we can see very nice boxes on these with the lovely design on the back. As always, I do like the presentation on their fragrances. I was sent the samples of these to try out actually before I got the bottles, so I've had them for quite a while now and a really good chance to try all of them out even before I got my full bottles, which we now have. So the first one I'm going to talk about is summer bottled. There is also an intense version of this. I'm not quite sure of the exact differences. I settled for summer bottled, the normal version, and that is the Parfums Vintage version of Frappans L'Humaniste. 50ml of this is going to cost you $79 on the company's website, and that roughly translates to £63. Nice presentation, as you can see there. Notes in this one: bergamot, cardamom, black pepper, juniper berries, nutmeg, thyme, peony, gin, tonka and musk. It's the original Frappan fragrance, a beautiful gin and tonic-like, refreshing, maybe mojito-esque kind of vibe as well, you could say. Some kind of a summer refreshing drink with a little zing of alcohol in it is really what this one represents in terms of the fragrance. The original fragrance, famous for not lasting very well. This one has lasted quite well on my skin. It's not beast mode, but it has had decent longevity, which is more than can be said for the reputation of Frappans L'Humaniste, which famously apparently disappears in a few minutes. I've only tried a small sample of that one, and I did try them side by side. They are remarkably similar. You will notice perhaps some subtle differences if you dig in, but it's not to say the Parfums Vintage one is worse. It really captures that gin and tonic on the skin vibe and lasts really well. Moving swiftly on then, next up it's Neroli. Now guess what this is? This is based of course on Tom Ford's Neroli Portofino. The price for this one, the 50ml, is $89, roughly £71. Not sure why it's more expensive. Perhaps some of the ingredients must be a little bit more expensive. I know Neroli itself is a rather expensive fragrance ingredient. The notes are bergamot, mandarin orange, lemon, lavender, myrtle, rosemary and bitter orange. Also we have African orange flower, jasmine, neroli, pittosporum, angelica, ambrette and amber. Now the main smell you're going to get off this is to some extent lovely neroli and this famous kind of soapy, fresh, clean, a bit like 4711 kind of vibe that you get with Tom Ford's Neroli Portofino. Of all the clones I've tried, and I've tried loads, this is just about the best so far. I think some of the inexpensive ones are really good. The only thing that's better about this one is that opening. It does capture something of that magic, that really high quality opening that you get on the actual real Tom Ford Neroli Portofino, which I do have a sizable decant of. Other fragrances such as the Perfume Parlour version, the one by Generic Perfumes that I featured recently, they capture the dry down very, very closely to Neroli Portofino, and they cost a lot less than this, so you may well want to consider those. But if you are looking for a bit more of that magic in the opening, this just does seem to capture it, because I know Damien Stammers, the perfumer, is very meticulous in using extremely high quality ingredients, and I think the top notes on this one are the champion of the clones, but it's not cheap, so think about that before you buy it. But I was pretty impressed overall. Longevity on Neroli is a good, again, very decent, but not beast mode, but it probably lasts at least as long as the real Neroli Portofino, which I actually find to last quite well. Some people think not. Moving on then, the third and final one is called Brilliant Bergamot. Now this is Parfums Vintage take on Le Labo's Bergamot 22, a really famous and very popular and rather expensive bergamot based fragrance. This one is out there at the price of $98 for 50ml, which is the most expensive of the bunch. That translates to about £78. Notes on this one are bergamot, orange blossom, grapefruit, petitgrain, cedar, amber, vetiver and musk. And I love the opening on this one. It is a really beautiful bergamot stroke citrus type of opening. After that, there isn't an awful lot of depth or complexity to this fragrance. It does remind some people of Versace's Man Eau Fresh, I've heard, and also Mugler Cologne, and it does have something of that very nice but not incredibly remarkable type of fresh summer scent smell. It smells really beautiful, but it doesn't really develop or go anywhere terribly complex. It's just a nice bergamot, a little bit of vetiver and musk to me. A bit of a general citrus vibe. I guess it's not obviously just bergamot. They're mentioning orange blossom and grapefruit. Yeah, a crisp kind of woodiness of cedar, vetiver. And I must say the petitgrain note really stands out as being lovely on this one. It's that kind of leafy green fresh note that I really enjoy. It's very, very nice, but it's not really the most remarkable. I don't quite get the hype and the fuss over Bergamot 22. but I must say the Parfums Vintage one did perform very well and would be a great kind of work scent, and very, very pleasant. But to me, perhaps I was the least excited about that one in the end after I wore it a few times. Again, it lasted well. Good performance on all three of these, but they are all still fresh fragrances, and unless you put bucket loads of fragrance oil, they won't be the longest lasting fragrances in your collection. But the very, very high quality smells, and I have enjoyed all three of them. So if you're a particular fan of any one of those fragrances and you want to get a version which has good performance and which will cost you a little bit less money than the original and still comes with a really nice packaging, bottle design, very high quality ingredients, I am led to believe, are involved, then Parfums Vintage is a great option. Let me know if you've tried any of these fragrances yet, or what you think about the original versions. I haven't tried the other one that's out there that is called, I think, Summer Bottled Intense. Actually, I did have a small sample, but I chose just to opt for the normal one. There wasn't a lot in it. I'm not sure if it's just a higher concentration of oil, it therefore costs a little bit more, that one. But anyway, very impressed with all three. Probably my favourite of the three, I think, is the Frappin Luminist. I always did enjoy that fragrance for that lovely gin and tonic refreshing vibe. Also enjoyed, if you want the best Neroli Portofino clone, but certainly one of the more expensive ones, Neroli smells great from Parfums Vintage, and Bergamot 22, nice, but didn't blow my mind. So let me know what you think about that. As ever, whatever you're doing in life, let's project. Don't forget to check me out in Patreon in the Smelly Army Private Members Club, where for just $2 a month, you get an extra video every week. There's a link in the description if you'd like to join up. See you next time. Bye bye.